Good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for being here this afternoon. Let me acknowledge my colleagues who are here with me today. I'll make some opening remarks, and then I'll turn it over to Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins. And I want to congratulate her on getting the state budget done. It was a hard budget. A lot going on in the world, a lot going on in the country and the state. Between the COVID situation and federal relief, but it's really a good piece of work, and I want to congratulate her. Same to Assemblyman Nader Sayegh, who obviously the Senate and the Assembly passed the budget. Speaker Carl Heastie is the head of the Assembly. I want to congratulate them. Assemblyman Sayegh also has the distinction of being the first Jordanian American who's ever served in the State Assembly. So good for him as a pioneer. Westchester County George Latimer, who's a partner of ours on the state and has done an extraordinary job. And Mayor of Yonkers, Mike Spano, who's hosting us today. The mayor has always been a great partner, and Yonkers should be very proud. And I understand from a little birdie that the mayor is going to be 21 years old again tomorrow, so congratulations to you on 21 plus. To Sergeant Archana Chang, who is the site commander for the Yonkers mass vaccination site, and the entire team. They are about to do their shot number 50,000 today. So let's give the National Guard and everybody who's running this a big round of applause. Congratulations, guys. National Guard has been fantastic. They really have stepped up all across the state. Before I begin my remarks today, I'd like to comment on what happened last night and the justice that was done in the George Floyd decision. I hope it brings some peace to the family. I hope it brings some peace to people, demonstrators all across this country, people who are concerned all across this country. But at the same time, let's remember the context, right? The George Floyd killing was not just about George Floyd. This has been a long line of systemic injustices in the justice system, which has made it even more repugnant. You can go back to Rodney King, you can go to Amadou Diallo, you can go to Sean Bell, you can go to Trayvon Martin, Eric Garner, then George Floyd. And then after the George Floyd killing, Daunte Wright, Adam Toledo. We don't need an episodic solution, because this is not an episodic problem, it is a systemic problem. And we need to attack this issue both from the top down and the bottom up. The national government should step in. President Biden spoke about it in the campaign. We need public safety reform in this country. You can't police the way you did decades ago. It's a different society. Things change, things evolve. We don't educate the way we educated decades ago. No system has been static. And we need to undertake the real reforms in our public safety system, nationwide and bottom up. Why? Because policing is done community by community. Policing in Yonkers is different than policing in Mount Vernon, is different than policing in New York City, is different than policing in Buffalo. Let those communities design the public safety reform system that they want, that they need, that they believe is responsive to their community's needs. New York State is the first state in the nation that started that public safety reform, mandating that communities come up with a reform plan in light of the George Floyd killing. But it's just the start. If communities need laws changed from the state, tell us. But otherwise, community by community, let's reform public safety and understand that peace was done, justice was done with George Floyd. But until we change the system, there will be another, and another, and another. Today we're at the Yonkers mass vaccination site, which has done a really fantastic job. The mass vaccination sites are the most effective vaccination sites in the state of New York in terms of numbers that are just produced. As I mentioned before, the National Guard does a fantastic job. I want to thank Mayor Spano personally for his help and his administration's help in making this site work. 50,000 vaccinations, just think about that. It's an extraordinary accomplishment. The COVID numbers show that we are still making progress. All the numbers are headed in the right direction. COVID yesterday, statewide, was 2.14%. That's the lowest level since November 5th, which is a very big deal. That means we're back to where we were in early November before Thanksgiving, before the whole holiday surge. So that's really good news. But as good as the news is, we still had 53 people die yesterday. And those are 53 families that are grieving today, and they're in our thoughts and prayers. 817 people in ICU, 505 intubated. When you look across the state, you see different COVID positivity rates, which are dramatically different, which makes the point again, this is up to your community and how your community behaves. Highest positivity rate in the state of New York is Western New York, 4.4%. Mid-Hudson, 3%. Finger Lakes, 3%. Long Island, 2.9%. New York City, 2.8%. Capital Region, 2%. Mohawk Valley, 1.6%. North Country, 1.4%. Central New York, 1.4%. Southern Tier, 0.8%. Statewide, 2.6%. But ask yourself, why is Western New York at 4.4%? And the Capital Region, Albany District, is at 2%. Why is Western New York double what the Albany area is? It's a function of the human behavior in that area. We control the positivity rate, nobody else. The 7-day statewide average is 2.6%. That's the lowest since November 11th. Here in Westchester County, the 7-day average, 2.6, which is the lowest rate since November 6th. That is a great piece of news, and I want to congratulate the County Executive Latimer. You have done a fantastic job, 16 vaccination sites in Westchester, and he has constantly been getting out the message. Let's give the County Executive a round of applause. It has been a long, horrendous year with COVID. We've all suffered the pain. But spring is here. The sun is out. Spring is a season of renewal. Some of us just celebrated Easter, spring of renewal, rebirth. And that's where New York is. We're poised for rebirth. And our goal in New York is not just to awake from the COVID winter, but to rise ever stronger in this new spring. That is what New York does. You can knock us down, but we get up, and we get up stronger. We went through 9/11. We got knocked down, but we got up, and we got up stronger. We went through Hurricane Superstorm Sandy. You knocked us down, but we got up, and we got stronger. And we have to do the same thing with COVID. We're not just going to rebuild, we're going to rebuild better than ever before. And we have the agenda to do it. We're going to be the green energy capital of the nation, period. We have universal broadband access that no other state has in the United States. We're going to have more affordable housing than ever before. We're going to reform our healthcare system, learning from what we learned in COVID and the pandemic. So New York will be better on the rebirth if we make it better. And the key to getting to rebirth is the vaccinations. Now, yes, we have vaccines. Yes, I just gave you numbers that say we're headed in the right direction with COVID. But don't get cocky with COVID. There are variants of interest. We've seen places around the world, we see states in this country where the number went down and then it spiked and it went right back up. The only way to address and defeat COVID and crush COVID is to get the vaccination. We have to reach herd immunity. And that is important, and I can't say it enough, and we can't do enough, and it takes all of us. But it also takes people to come forward and take the vaccine. It is safe. 12 million doses just in the state of New York. It's being administered around the world. It is safe. Everybody is eligible. There are no excuses now not to get the vaccine. And today, we're taking even an additional step, where for people who are over 60 years old, of age, you don't even need an appointment to get a vaccine. You can just walk in to any of the mass vaccination sites across the state and walk in and they will give you the vaccine. You don't have to go on the internet, you don't have to make a phone call, you don't have to do anything. Just show up at the vaccination site if you're 60 plus and they will give you a vaccine. Why 60 plus? Because the older you are, the more susceptible you are to harm from the virus. So, for people over 60 years old, I'm one of them, really no excuses. Just show up, and that starts this Friday. But at the end of the day, government can only do what government can do. We can set up the vaccination sites. The National Guard can be heroic. All the health officials can do their job. The mayor can do his job. The county executive can do his job. The Senate Majority Leader can do her job. But it's up to you to come and get the vaccine. Last point. People talk about the vaccine and, well, this is a decision I have to make for myself. Yes, it's a decision you have to make for yourself. It's safe, it's smart for you. I believe that in every medical professional, or most 99% of the medical professionals in this country will tell you the same thing. But think about this, it's not really just about you, right? You are a member of a community. It's a great word from the Latin communitas, of the common. You are part of a community. And if you get sick, you can make somebody else sick. So yes, it's about you. But you don't live on an island unto yourself. You live in an apartment, you live in a house, you go to a store, you get on a bus, you get on a train. You affect other people. You are part of the community. And I believe there's a civic duty for you as part of that community to do the responsible thing. Community, communitas. My father said it more simply, God rest his soul. He used to talk about New York as a family, the family of New York. You're a member of the family. This is one extended family of New York. And your behavior will affect the family. If you don't get vaccinated, even if you're young and you're a superhero and you're not worried, you could give it to someone and it could kill them. So yes, it's your decision, but you are part of a community. You are part of the New York family, and you have an obligation and responsibility one to another. Let's honor that responsibility. With that, let me turn it over to the Senate Majority Leader again. Congratulations on getting the budget done. We've been through many of them. This is probably the most complicated and most difficult budget, but it's probably the budget that also does the most for New York in terms of reform and good work, which will allow us to rebound post-COVID higher than ever before. And I want to thank the Senate Majority Leader and the New York State Assembly for all their good work in getting it done. Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins.